stable au 110 sur 30, droite 50 sable Bex.
Well, hello, Dirtfish friends. Jumbo Safari Rally Africa. It's Saturday. It's lunchtime. We've had 3 stages this morning, and David, 3 very different stages from the ones that we saw yesterday. Why is that?
You've just renamed it again.
No, am I?
Safari Rally Africa.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That's the song. This one's for Africa.
It's because we haven't even had breakfast yet, Cole. We have perhaps too
How
much
can
coffee.
you get 3 words wrong so often?
It's quite frustrating. But yeah, just a very, not quite the exciting morning.
No.
No.
No, we won't start it again.
Great.
Shush, director. Keep going. Tell me about the stages, David.
Well, we sat here and predicted absolute chaos again this morning. It hasn't happened. But we also talked, Cole, about, you know, what are the drivers doing? The likes of Tanak, and are they're obviously still biding their time, just waiting. At some point, you know, they're going to have to start to make a move. Ogier started to make that move in the last 2 stages, hasn't he? He's increased the pace a little bit, 2 quickest times, but really not a huge impact on the leaderboard.
But you know, I think what we've seen, we've seen some really interesting things so far. What we've seen is that the drivers can adapt very, very quickly, which is why we've not really had issues this morning. We have also seen that if you decide to go for it, if you decide to take the risk, Neuville showed us this, you can take 20, 30 seconds in a stage. So, you know, as you say, Tanak biding his time, looking after his car, looking after his tyres. If he decides on that second pass of the Sleeping Warrior stage this afternoon to go for it, he could easily take 20, 30 seconds back.
He could, but you know, generally the nature of the stages today, those stages in further north, towards Nakuru. Lake Nakuru. They're much quicker, aren't they?
Yes.
We haven't seen anything like what we saw in Chewy Lodge yesterday, the really tight, twisty sections. So when you get these quicker sections, we've always seen this in Finland, you don't get the big time differences, do you? So, and then when they're coming into those, particularly the end of Sleeping Warrior, that really rocky section, that isn't exactly the rock garden that I talked about, so apologies for that. May have been slightly misleading. But everybody has slowed down and they've been very cautious through there. So there hasn't been those sort of medium to slower speed sections where people could really lean on the car a bit more and take a bit more of a risk to actually make a big margin.
Do you think, though, we saw the drama yesterday morning, I think partly because the stages were incredibly challenging. Okay, we saw drama all through yesterday, but particularly yesterday morning, partly because the drivers didn't really know the severity of what to expect. Is there a chance that there might be a little bit of complacency after quite a benign morning, and that we might see it all kicking off this afternoon?
Possibly, yes, because undoubtedly what we will see is, you know, we'll see more potholes, the road, again, we always talk about the road evolving. It will evolve, you know, you could see big rocks coming out after just 3 or 4 cars. Obviously, we're not going to see the same sort of fesh that we saw yesterday. It's more this hard volcanic lava sort of base, which doesn't degenerate in the same way that yesterday did. But complacency, I'm not sure you could ever be complacent on this event. But
you know, a second of complacency and it's over.
Yeah.
You know, complacency was maybe the wrong word, but you know, maybe feeling a little comfortable, more comfortable, and that's where mistakes can creep in.
Yeah. Again, though, it's the nature of the road today. It's quicker, isn't it? And clearly, it's not been as rough. But you know, overwhelmingly for me, there's been 2 things today. Or 3 things. Seeing the Sleeping Warrior, seeing the actual profile of the hills and everything, the people, and just some of those shots, the heli shots of the really quick bits.
Just unreal. Just unreal.
Brilliant. Yeah.
It's been fantastic. Well, Thierry Neuville, listen, first thing this morning, if you watched our review, which an awful lot of you have, our preview, to this morning, we had concerns that maybe Neuville could have been carrying an issue, maybe an engine issue after his troubles yesterday. Clearly, that is not the case. He's had a really strong morning. He's extended his lead over Takamoto Katsuta. Not an awful lot happened in our top 6, to be honest. It's still Neuville, Katsuta, Tanak, Ogier, then Greensmith, and then Formeau. But those gaps have perhaps just moved together slightly, but not enough as yet for the likes of Ogier to get terribly excited.
No, but it's still an awfully long way to go, isn't it? You know, we say this every time, but there really is a long way to go. And now it's going to be absolutely fascinating to see how strategies play out in the second half of the event.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting indeed. Now, you know, we are absolutely loving the atmosphere out here at Rally Kenya. I have to say, we've not seen crowds like this in a very long time. Never mind just on the stages, but on the road sections, the reception our drivers have been getting is just phenomenal. Obviously, the crowds are here, David, to see the superstars of world rallying, but they're also here to support the local drivers. And what we've done, we've spoken to our friend Jeff Mays from Amazing Africa Tours, and we've asked Jeff to give us an update on the local drivers. So here he is in one of the stages this morning.
Greetings, Colin, from a very, very dusty Elementaita stage, the first one on Saturday morning. You asked for an update on the Kenyans? Well, here it is. Onkarai is the top Kenyan, 8th overall in his Polo R5, giving a really, really good representative. He was very competitive against Procop and the other internationals yesterday, so very proud of him. We were expecting a fierce battle between him and his teammate Flash Tundo. Flash is down in 13th after a little bit of a whoopsie with a tree yesterday, but expect a huge fight back from him. He knows these stages very well, and he absolutely dominated the dry run of this event back in May. Sadly, we've lost Onka's brother, also in a Polo. Tej had a really, really nasty accident yesterday, so we send him our best wishes and hope for a swift recovery. The Group N cars are not so bad, actually. We got a couple of them in the top 20 overall, obviously outgunned, but then they are 10 years old. It's kind of like putting a classic car up against the modern machinery. But you know what? That's what we have here in Kenya, and it's so nice to see so many Kenyans out and about competing. A lot of people are having a go at us about the fesh and the conditions and all that. This is rallying in Africa. This is what makes it the Safari Rally. And you know what? These brand new R3 cars are pretty impressive. They're all still going, and the top one is Jeremy Wahomey. I apologize, Jeremy. Up in 13th, so he is doing fantastically well for his first ever rally. I mean, this isn't just a WRC debut, this is a rally debut for him.
David, thank you very much, Jeff, by the way. That's a great update, and we'll look forward to hearing more from you, Jeff, over the course of the weekend. But it's been so well supported by local drivers, this event, hasn't it? It
has. You know, there is a real rich kind of African rally championship that goes on here. It's okay, there's not that many cars, it's not hugely well supported, but there's a real energy for the sport over here, and to see, you know, the number of locals who have come out, both in terms of competing and watching, it's just fantastic. And you kind of forget just how much this sport means. And Jeff, you know, he's a guy that lives here and lives this sport.
Drives himself.
Yeah, drives
himself.
But you know, when you've told me some of the stories that Jeff's come out with, the passion that he's got, it reflects, you know, the community around there. It's just tremendous.
It really is tremendous. So listen, folks, what we would like you to do, we know an awful lot of you are tuning in from Kenya this weekend, and we really thank you for that, and we thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel. We want to hear from you. We really want to hear from you. So if you want to do some little selfie videos, you can either send them to media@dirtfish.com or just put them on your social media channels and hashtag Dirtfish, and we will find them. You could also, at Voice of Rally if you're on Twitter, or at Dirtfish Rally if you're on Twitter, we will find them. But we'd love you to say hello to us and just let us know what you're doing this weekend. David, you have a point.
What you could do is teach Colin how to say the event title. It's a very complicated
Rally,
3 words.
Kenya. Yeah, I'm going to write it in big writing on my notes here. Folks, so that's been an interesting morning for sure here, an interesting Saturday morning at Safari Rally Kenya. More to come this afternoon. Join us. Myself, David, Richard Milner, the team principal at M Sport, will be joining us for the end of day review. We look forward to seeing you all then.